Ooh. What's that to me? I went too long on that one, huh? I don't think I'm gonna do this one for too long, man. I wanna watch some shit. I'm falling behind on the shit that I'm trying to keep up on. That's not true. I'm rewatching The Good Place. Um, I kind of want to skip some episodes or seasons. Or I basically just want to get to the twist and see if they say anything like Gnostic in nature or simulation theory. Because the first time I watched that show, I mean, obviously I understood the twist, but I now that I really understand to the extent that I do now, I feel there. I rewatch shit all the time now, which I don't like doing. I usually don't like doing that, but I'm starting to because now I have all this like, you know, rewiring happening, and there are words that I didn't in the moment realize it didn't process, like I didn't know what it meant. So it had this whole other meaning, and I just didn't process it. And so there's all this esoteric and occult meaning to all these things, and it's crazy because it's like there's a synchronicity to it where it's like something drew me to that. And I know that sounds lame. I don't talk like that. It kind of rubs me the wrong way when people do, but I know not to like I know not to fall into that because this shit can be real. There's just a bunch of fucking fake people faking it. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that it's all fake. It just means that there's a bunch of fake shit being like kind of pushed at you, which is algorithm, which I planned on getting into if I can. Um, yeah, I mean there's just I don't know. It's like my brain is just constantly hungry. Does that make sense? No, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. Um, I've always kind of characterized what was being called ADHD as not being able to shut my brain off and insomnia. I guess I more so said it for insomnia, but um, that's probably because uh, Aboriginal kids, um, black kids, we, unless you live in specific areas, like they never asked us if we had ADHD. We just got in trouble. So that concept was never a thing to me. So I just got used to it and did things to try to like adjust to it as much as I could, which is good. I'm glad that it was like that. I don't want to take that shit. I'm mad that I fell for it even briefly. Um, but whatever. So I'm gonna try. Maybe this is like a good exercise. I'm gonna try to like touch on the things I want to touch on without doing what I just did, basically. Off to a bad start, homie. Um, so I mean, but you know what? I also have a head start because I talked about Miami, and if you didn't watch that, um, go watch it. It's very troubling to me. All this stuff where I'm like, no, there's no way people are gonna fucking fall for that. They do almost every time. To be fair though, I am seeing like, you know, more and more people be like, no, dude, that's fake. And I'm glad, but I mean, what the fuck? We didn't see that instantly. We didn't notice that instantly. That's still kind of a problem, Reaction time needs to be on point. you know don't let shit like that fool you even for a second, man. Because to be honest, like I keep saying that you really can't be sure what information they disclose is real or not. And that goes all the way. I see all these videos talking about the Adam and Eve story, and what's the other one? The Adam and Eve story. There is honestly the Admiral Byrd documents. I tend to believe those because they don't push those. That's a big thing for me. If you see something getting pushed, like a lot of people are talking about it, and it's slick because now they're starting to say shit like, watch this before they take it down, watch this before they delete it. If it's being pushed that heavily, bruh, that shit's probably some PSYOP shit or some COINTELPRO shit. If it's being, just think. I think a big thing is like, I think we're being pushed to think so fast or so quickly that it makes beings not think for an extra second. I'm really getting in a groove of that. Taking an extra second to think and be like, hold on, bruh. Hold on. Let's think about this for a second. Then the Miami thing is an instance of that. The UAP disclosure is an instance of that. Like, pretty much a lot of the things that get kind of pushed in your direction, if you take an extra second to think about it, it doesn't make fucking sense. Why the fuck would aliens be at the mall, just walking around outside? And then other people were like, yeah, it was demons. A portal opened and it was demons. And it's like, alright, well, your definition of demons, they sure were fucking docile. They didn't do shit to nobody. And they kept disappearing and then coming back, supposedly. But did anybody think about, I'll call it fog. I won't even call it smoke. I saw fog and a bunch of cop car lights. Now, depending on the type of hologram technology you use, you need a catalyst in order to make the picture stick. In order to make it visible, you need a catalyst. It's not just going to pop up anywhere. I have seen where they allege that they don't need that, but I haven't seen any evidence of it. Any other time they say they have some shit, don't they show it to you when they're ready? Even the UFOs, they're showing you they got UFOs now, right? So where are the holograms that don't need anything? They don't need any kind of catalyst or secondary medium to actually work. And I mean, I'll be the first to say there's also the possibility that they're not going to show you any of that, so that when they do the Independence Day, Operation Independence Day, that was not just a movie, they were showing you shit that they're going to do, then you won't know what you're looking at. But at the same time, it sure does seem like they put out, the people that felt bad about what they were doing in that operation. And then that French dude wrote Operation Bluebeam, right? Or is it Behold the Pale Horse? I don't know. They both talk about this shit. They both talk about all these things that are happening right now. Someone sent me a Terrence McKenna video where he just basically, just like the Unabomber, detailed everything that's happening right now. And there's like a bunch of different possibilities of what I think that could mean. I'm becoming more and more suspicious of all this shit because it all seems like set up to an extent, And at this point, I wouldn't put it past them because this shit reeks of desperation, bruh. Y'all desperate as hell. You got all this money, you got all this technology supposedly, and you got all the manpower supposedly. It's very weird. And I'm not saying that they can't do shit to people, because I've been very vocal. They kidnapped the fuck out of me and put me in prison for 3 years. Technically for 10 years, but after 3 years, I got myself the fuck out. So, everybody's too quick to accept. They're too quick to think that they understand when they're really just, they're not even using critical thinking. They listen to what is being said or what's being shown to them, and they're like, yep. And, you know, God love you, but some of y'all are sending me these old goofy ass, these old goofy ass clips. People are sending me clips from movies, and they think that it's real life. Not even, found footage movies. These are movie sets, and people think it's real, and they're like, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that was a good movie." Bruh, you know. Um, I'm still chilling. This shit just is very surprising. It's not worrying me too much. It's just like very, very surprising. Which is, I guess, in some ways, that's kind of unfair because I've been paying attention to this shit for so long that it's like I guess I'm kind of expecting people to notice or to have like at least have more common sense about it, you know. But in a way, that's unfair. I guess. Is it though? I don't know, man. All I know is that that Miami thing, it's being pushed way too hard. Okay, so think about it like this. Think about how hard. Let me take a step back. First, do you ever remember preemptive pokes, preemptive shots being pushed at you at all, really? Somebody might say, hey, get your flu shot. But it wasn't like, life and death. Like, get your flu shot or I'm gonna murder your ass. Like, it was never anything like that. It honestly, if they saw a flu outbreak, they might say something to you about it, like, hey, this has been going on. But for the most part, no. Then that thing happens, and that thing happens, it's on the news, it's on the radio. They have washed up music acts redoing their songs in the form of Get Yourself Poked, Juvenile, I Will Never Ever Look at You the Same, ever. Bro, you lost all my respect with that. He said, he said, jab that thing up, bro. That's fucking crazy. I can't believe you did that shit, bro. And then, they hit every market. I think Taylor Swift made a song. They had all these campaigns. People started shaming each other and blaming death on each other for not getting stuck with something that they didn't even understand. They just held out their arm, took it, and then thought about it for a second, like, I don't even know what that was for real, for real. And then looked at you like, now you do it too. That's crazy. That's crazy. We're not thinking. We're not using critical thinking. And then, you know what? I take that back. Y'all aren't using critical thinking. Because I think me and mine are. And that's why our groups are so small and y'all like to talk shit to us a little bit. You're not using critical thinking. And the equally goofy part about it is not only are you just accepting shit and like just keeping it rise and grind or whatever, anytime one of us tries to talk about that shit, you get to, saying you're tearing people down for using their own discernment and intuition. And it's on stupid shit. This Miami thing, someone earlier today said some of the most inflammatory shit to me over that video that I put up. And all I was saying is, bruh, take a second, take a breath. Just because this lady is like, yep, it's a demon, now you're freaking out to me, talking about, what you need to do and you got to get your shit in order and all this stuff. Bruh, she wasn't there. You weren't there. The nigga that she's pointing at in the video doesn't even sound like he was there. Have y'all ever heard someone describe anybody as 8 to 10 feet. Have you ever heard anyone say that ever in your life? Or do they just make up one number? Like, oh, well, how tall was he, sir? Oh, he's like 7 feet. No one says 8 to 10 feet, and then they skipped one. That's government speak. That's government talk. That is a script. That's a script. And then there's multiple videos of random people like, hey, y'all, I just had to clear this shit up for you. Let me tell you what really happened. It's all the same video of some fucking weak ass actor who has not done shit with his career, most likely, or just a random dude, either way, that has been paid to tell you a version of this very scripted story. There's an old, what's it called? I keep wanting to say Mars Attacks. It's not Mars Attacks. War of the Worlds. Wasn't that it? War of the Worlds. Not a movie. It was a radio broadcast. They did it in like the early 1900s. Basically, when more people had radios than TVs, they did a broadcast. Not they. A guy, a radio host. For all I know. I mean, that could have been they. Also, that could have been a little test run. You know what I'm talking about? This dude essentially faked an alien invasion over the radio, which is an arguably more effective way. You can't do that now, but it is way more effective than what they got now. He faked an alien invasion on the radio, and people lost it. People fucking lost it. They didn't see the aliens. They didn't hear the aliens. No one that they knew died. It literally drove them crazy just hearing this guy say these things were happening through the radio. That is what is happening again, over and over again. It's very strange. That's why, I mean, I don't like it when people call each other NPC and shit, but I get it. At the same time, I do get it. Don't get me wrong, because to watch what I perceive to be, because you never know, man. I honestly, I'm under the impression that most of this experience is scripted, I'll say. I say fake a lot, and I mean it too, but I'll say scripted for this purpose. I watch people say things and do things and freak out over dumb shit like this, but I'll tell them something just in passing, and they're like, everything is backwards and upside down. Everything is backwards and upside down. So everyone is just gonna fall into this Miami shit and ignore the fact that all these people, and I'm gonna say people this time because fuck them, all these people that have all this money and attention and prestige been touching on little kids, and y'all give a fuck about some shadow people at a Miami mall. What? And I mean, that should tell you a couple things. Obviously, some of those people that were like, yeah, I was there, bro, that shit was horrifying. Those are fake people. They're either literally fake, because you can, I mean, video is not trustworthy anymore. Just, I keep having to try to remind myself of that. And, you know, not to be crass, but if you need something to help you remind how fake video is, people make fake porn videos with celebrities. And I don't know, I think I happened upon one when they first started doing that. It was terrible. I mean, the mechanics of it were terrible. Everything about it was terrible. Who knows what it's like now? That was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, or long. I don't remember when. But technology moves so fast, and You have to always try to keep in mind that our perception of technology is very, very controlled. We don't know what they have because they don't give us anything that's new. Everything that we get is like 40 years old. All of it. Everything we know of is like 40 years old. Even the shit that they're disclosing, the UAP disclosure, nigga, that's not the real shit they have. What? Why would they show you that? That's their weapons. They gonna use that shit on you. Why would they show it to you? The element of surprise, bruh. You know? Art of war. There's no reason for them to show that to you. You think they care to disclose shit to you? They don't give a fuck if you know about that. The same people that are building bunkers and have been building bunkers for decades, I mean, to be honest, most of them are done. Them celebrities talking about they're building bunkers, that's to scare you. That shit is done. They don't need to build that. It's already done. They already own the land over there. You think that they built the house and now they're building the bunker? Take an extra second. Like, most of the time I see these things and I just shake my head because I'm like, okay, maybe this time, maybe this time everybody will be like, boo, that's fake. Boo, cut that out. Nope. Nope. It's a trip. It's a trip. And I mean, that really does go into me being like, all right, so is this place completely fake? Ain't nobody this dumb. Nobody's this dumb, right? But I think it's a collective consciousness thing. I think collectively, when they do stuff like that, people look at each other, panic and shit, and they're like, well, I might as well panic too. Which I have never understood that. I don't understand that at all. Not a single person is going to affect how I feel about anything. I definitely like to learn from people. I like to gain information from people, perspective, and all that shit. But none of that is consequential in my decision. That's just gathering data. That doesn't. I mean, honestly, I'm so contrarian. You can prove some shit to me, and just because of the way you said it, I'll still be like, don't care. You know what I mean? Unless it's life or death. Even then, sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I don't care. I just don't like your vibe, you know. But that Miami thing, I really, that's really disappointing. I will say though, I did see some channels that I frequent just straight come out and say like, nah, that's not real. Which is good. You know, at least there's a balance and it's not just people being like, oh my god, we're all fucked. Because that would be discouraging. Meanwhile, earthquakes everywhere, volcanoes. I wish this shit would hurry up. Is that inflammatory to say? I wish this shit would hurry up. And side note, I really do get turned around trying to think of, because a lot of the things that are called natural occurrences are not natural anymore. And I just got done saying technology that we know of is old. So how long have they been doing weather and geo engineering stuff? Because if you have cloud factories now, why? That's not advanced technology. That seems like some shit you could have had since the 1700s, right? So, and history books are not trustworthy. People's recollections are not trustworthy. So, coming from the perspective of my matrix talks, my simulation talks, are clouds real? Have they ever been real? Or have they always been factory made? people will fight with you over that, but have never touched a cloud, never even been close to a cloud. Or they'll ignore the fact that, you always see clouds up there, but recently there are clouds coming down to the earth and following people around, or just kind of hovering there and shit. And it's it's not a big deal, I guess. That's fucking crazy. That's weird. I don't understand that at all. The Miami thing is just it's a test run. And when I initially saw it and I didn't know about the specifics of the apparitions that people saw, and I hadn't heard any like firsthand accounts, because them shits is retarded. They're 8 to 9 feet tall, and both these dudes were Aboriginal. We don't talk like that. We don't. That's cop speak. That's how cops talk. We don't talk like that. They saw 8 to 9 feet creatures. Shut up. Shut up, nigga. Like, and everybody eating that shit up, sharing it, sending it to me and shit. I don't send me that shit, bro. I don't want to watch videos of niggas that talk like cops. Probably are cops. Those are probably cops. Or paid, whatever. You get my point with that. The only thing I will say about that is that it is an indication. It's an indication of, initiation. Like, that is the initiation of whatever they're doing. That's the start of it. And I'm more so than looking at what they're doing, I'm looking at y'all. I'm looking at everybody else. Like, what you think about that? That scare you a little bit? You gonna do something? Because honestly, I've said in one of these videos, like, I'm trying to stay away from certain people because they will get you killed. When things progress to a level that is actually of some, real risk, they will get you fucking killed. They'll do something stupid or say something stupid or take from someone they shouldn't take from. Like, watching The Walking Dead is not preparing for what is gonna happen. That's not preparation. There's a lot of stuff you can do, but that's not one of them. And if anything, honestly, it's even worse than that. That's meant to make you it's meant to make you preconditioned to act in certain ways once shit starts to go in that direction. You're gonna think you're Superman. You're gonna think that you can just roll up on people and take their shit, or that you can beat up all the zombies, or whatever thing happens. It's not meant to help you. It's meant to imprint shit in your consciousness so that A, you help manifest it. B, when you do that, you have a harder time snapping out of it, and you will approach others with aggression that is illogical. And I try not to repeat myself, but why, rather than getting together with your neighbors that you don't talk to, because they definitely got rid of that, and say, hey, if shit pops off, let's meet right in this spot, and we'll figure out everything we need to do. We'll, close your street off. Make your street like a little fort. Like, you gotta have a helicopter to get in this bitch. Like, there's stuff that you can try, but you can't do it. You're not gonna do it by yourself. 99% of people don't have the money to prepare for this type shit yourself. And it, to me, is kind of sad when I see people try to do it. I'm getting my garden started, and it's like 3 rows of vegetables, and half of them died. That's sad to me. Look at how they got us. Look at how they got us, bruh. that don't make y'all mad enough to say, all right, fuck what y'all talking about. All my neighbors meet right over here. We gonna talk. You know? I think it's about that time. Like, I don't mean to be preachy. I know I talk about similar things, but like, if you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you. That's kind of why I do this. You know, I'm not preaching. But if I did, you know, it would be to tell you fuck Miami's alien story. You know what I mean? That shit got me hot earlier. Not because of its existence, because people kept sending it to me. And then they started sending me like, oh, but here's a picture though. And I'm like, yeah, I told you. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying it's fake. It is for entertainment purposes only. Have y'all noticed that some of those TikToks that are fake, they include... So let me explain. I'm going to explain it in a way that'll get you to where I'm at. People started saying, hey, TikTok, this is for, whatever purposes only. Don't take my video down. Which I think that was predictive programming. Because some of them are agents, bro. Some of those people are controlled opposition. They're feeding you information to get a result. Whether it's fear or confusion or delusions of grandeur or aggression. They're doing things to you that you don't realize they're doing. And so that became a trend. And I think their algorithms are how they're accomplishing this. I don't even think they really have to speak to you most of the time. Maybe every once in a while, like to get a script, to say, hey, don't do this, or they're gonna take my video down. I think somebody would have to contact them for that, or they have specific people that just work for them in that way. But then it catches on, right? Now, anytime someone is dropping some gems or giving you some truth, not every time, half the time, they're like, hey, TikTok, don't fuck with my video, bruh. This is for entertainment purposes. I've unsupported, because I don't follow nobody, but I've unsupported more than a few people for doing that old goofy shit. And being like performative and overacting and stuff like that, because this is serious to me. And if I see you trivializing it or making a mockery of it by the way you are laying it on thick, I can't support that shit, bruh. I can't support you with that. And at that point, I don't even know what you are, because we don't do shit like that. To play around with people's lives like that is fucking weird. You tell yourself you get into the bag or whatever goofy shit you want to call that. Could care less. It's very, very strange how many videos say this is for entertainment purposes only. And what I was getting to is now I see specifically fake videos. Like I mentioned earlier that a couple people have sent me things, and they didn't realize that it was like a movie, not even some gonzo shot stuff, or a home movie, or or whatever, found footage. It wasn't any of that. It's just straight up movie scene. Like, you can tell this is a movie. And it seems like they want it to be real. Which, I'm not making fun of that. It's a desperation to find meaning. It's a desperation to make this make sense, because it does not. Even the folks that are like, I'm praying for you every day. May Jesus, help your soul, and so on and so on. None of the stuff that they just said is known to them or anyone else. They're really just in fear for their own shit. And they have to do stuff like that to convince themselves that they're believing the right thing. And that doesn't have anything to do with me. You got to work that out for yourself. But yeah, man, there's so many different types of people that can get your ass killed once all this shit kind of starts to pop off. That I'm like, damn, am I wasting my breath with that? That's kind of what these videos are supposed to be for. But the way that shit ethered Instagram, it just burned through Instagram like a cleansing fire. That's weird. Um, Pretty instantaneously, I was like, this is not real. And I won't say I wanted it to be, but the fact that there were so many cop cars, to initially see that, okay, I get it. You see the cop cars flashing and shit, but for me, the first thing I thought was, all right, this is not real. Because you don't need that many cops for anything. That was like I don't know. I don't know what to call that. It was a Coachella of cops. It was a Coachella of cops. Every single one of them had their fucking lights on. For what? You need 60 cop cars for some kids, allegedly. You need black helicopters for some children's, allegedly. It didn't make sense. Not one bit of it made sense. Mr. BB333 or whatever his name is, the very cool channel that does like weather stuff mostly. He does all kinds of shit. He analyzed this film and was like, you know what? This is not real. And he used mostly their height. He was like, they say it was 8 to 10 feet, but I'm analyzing this and comparatively, that wasn't even close to 10 feet or 8 feet. He said it was about average. And as I mentioned, the lights. Light spectrum can be used to make you think you see things or actually see things. Fog, I believe there was fog from some kind of like fireworks stuff, but those are perfect conductors for holograms, perfect catalysts for holograms, and I believe I've seen some like so-called leaked video of what blue beam looks like and what it can do and whatnot. And I think there's been a good number of videos like that on Instagram. Not specifically the one I'm talking about that's like whales and shit in a gymnasium. Let me know if you've seen that. But then there's another one that's in like a zoo or something, in the Arctic portion of a zoo. But they want you to believe that you can touch these simulations of animals, and I don't know if I believe that, bruh. I just don't know if I believe that. And it's not to say that you don't prepare for or live, life, but I'm not about to freak out and start changing everything about my life over some blurry video that people that live. I got people on here that hit me up today like I live there and I don't know what the fuck they talking about. I live here and I don't know what they're talking about. I just heard about this when I got on this app. More than one person said that to me. I'm like, I know. Don't even trip. Glad you're safe. You know what I'm saying? It's very strange. The turn of events for the year are troubling. And it's not really the events themselves, it's the response. Like, this is how... I'm not surprised, I guess I should say that. I'm not surprised because most people don't want to pay attention, or they don't want this stuff to be real. And it's like, you're running from it, so it's going to stay real longer. That's how that works. If you just deal with it, you'll get through it faster. You'll push through it. But with this, running from it or ascribing some shit that doesn't make any sense. Like the common kind of, I can't call it an archetype. The common plot where, you know, the person like me or us gets ignored until the very 2012 Cabin Fever, or not Cabin Fever, Cabin in the Woods. Like there's a bunch of movies. Monarch, Legend of Monsters, I think is the series name. There's always like a conspiracy theorist guy, quote unquote, and he's always right. Why do you think they put that in there like that all the time? Because it's funny. It is funny, but that's not why they put that there. I think they're kind of being literal. Like, listen to this nigga. He knows what he's talking about. You the one that's stupid. And they always make fun of him or, you know, make him wear something weird or whatever. But that's the person that actually knows what they're talking about. And collectively, I'm very happy with where a lot of us are, but that we're not the majority even close. And I'm glad. I don't really want it to be the majority because I think that's an easier way to get it sullied. But still, it's very trippy to watch, like, a whole thing, you know, be, you know, pushed at you. Like, hey, this is real. Believe this, believe this, believe this. I don't understand the concept of letting that get to you like that. Yeah, peace, Void. Appreciate you stopping through, bruh. Get some sleep or whatever it is you gotta do, homie. I'm not gonna be on here for too much longer either. I'm gonna have to separate this from the algorithm video because I have a lot to say about algorithms. Did I already touch on? Hold on. I feel like I had 3 things, but I feel like I've already talked about the 2 that I really want to talk about. Oh, this is a short one. I guess I'm going to say this just so I can put a pin in that biatch. So I was watching Jay Dreamer's video. Am I gonna get this wrong? There's 2 of them. There's one that was in my queue, my research queue. Then there was another. Oh, there was a Truth in Movies. He has a series called Truth in Movies, and he was breaking down one of the episodes of Stranger Things. And you know, he does etymology, similar shit to what I'm interested in too. And he was talking about El, and I posted about El very recently. You know, El, Elohim, Yahweh, Jehovah, Kronos. It just keeps going. Same dude. Or dudes, because I think it's more like a title at a certain point. Well, not at a certain point. Once you get to Elohim, it's a title. But he started talking about that, and I don't know why. Oh, I do know why. So he was breaking down another version or iteration of the steps of El, and he said Elvin, which I had not connected that, and it made me think to myself, Elvin, elves, clockwork elves. And the reason I say that is because the Elohim and Nephilim are thought by many to be what the inspiration for those was like, or no, the inspiration for vampires is the Nephilim and Elohim. And you know, pasty white skin, you know, photosensitive, red hair, bloody mouth from eating people. So that's where the lipstick comes from. Clowns. And I'm starting to realize now through my current, like, where I'm at currently in my research, all these things look like clowns. Most of them. I know there's different depictions and stuff, but it's almost like there was at the very least, there was a pantheon. There's a pantheon that all them niggas look like evil, crazy looking clowns. Which, you know, okay. Just don't eat people, and I guess we're straight on that. I don't care that you do that. Look like that, I mean. Just don't eat people. And we're cool. But it makes me want to look into if I can connect, if I can make any kind of connection, or if there is a connection between Elohim, you know, Yahshua, Yahweh, the list keeps going. But are those emanations of like Nephilim or clockwork elves, to be more specific on this one? Because in my mind I'm wondering, like, okay, so let's compare what these beings do and see if they sound alike. And when you start to consider how the gods used to be, and maybe still are sometimes, but used to be, you would see like very similar shit to what it sounds like. I haven't done D&T before, so I haven't met any clockwork elves or any of that shit that they describe. But they make it sound like they're very like benevolent, and that they're willing to like teach you, but you have to be prepared, or they'll say that you need to do this and this first or something like that. And it sounds to me like there's a possibility, and I talked about this in my documentation video, part 1, the first video. I go through a whole thing, kind of giving my idea of what could have probably happened. Not possibly, but a good probability of it. And so what if clockwork elves are the same, you know, concept, the same construct, or whatever you want to call it. And another thing that he was like, Jay Dreamers was kind of like detailing, he was giving like a background. I don't know if he knew this for sure, or if he was like doing what I do, which is just like using intuition and common sense. But he was like, yeah, but that's what their queen looks like, because she's a Nephilim. Like, she has white skin, red hair, like fiery red hair. They portray her as having like lipstick on, but I'm pretty sure that was just from eating people all the time and not really caring to like clean your mouth, you know? And he brought up the interesting point that like at first it was just her that looked like that, and that back in the times of those, you know, monarchs and royalty and shit like that, the upper echelon wanted to look like them and be them, and you know what I mean? It's like an influencer back before they technically maybe even had that. But then you start, if you're not a part of the majesty, a part of the throne or the upper echelon, you still would want to feel like it. So all these people, the upper echelon and the non-upper echelon, they're all trying to look like this woman, this lady. And you don't want her to be that. You don't want people to like want to be like her, but that's just what ends up happening. So when you see old pictures of nobility and people with money, and their faces were all painted white, and they had like maybe potentially too much lipstick on and shit like that, that was an influence from that circle. And man, I really wish I wish that dude with the Nephilim Look Like Clowns channel, wish his followers or his culty people weren't so culty, because it'd be interesting to have a conversation and kind of like see what his research into that brings up, because the stuff that Jay was saying makes sense to me heavily. So yeah, I guess I talked a bit, and then I put a pin in two things, because I still want to talk about algorithms, and I still want to talk about the possible connection or delineation between clockwork and whatever weird place this is. Hey man, I try to like keep certain stuff to myself. I've been, maybe it is I didn't sleep too well last night. This is the second night in a row that I'm all yawning and all kinds of shit. There's little things that I wonder to myself, and I want to ask y'all about them, but I think I'm just gonna do that directly, like instead of trying to do it on this. Because if nothing else, you have to safeguard yourself. You can't just be saying all kinds of shit on these apps. Because for all intents and purposes, it can be brought back up later as like, yep, this person is off or nuts or crazy, or fire them from their job or whatever it might be. And that's not beneficial to you or anyone else. So I do sometimes want to just say it. The things, there's not just one thing, but like self-preservation, it's not the right time for me to take that kind of leap or bound. But what I will say is there are earthquakes everywhere. Has anyone felt any randomly? Have you felt any shaken up or photographer stuff? I don't know. I really think there's stuff even personally that is going on that is like I'm not going to be able to find an answer to this until whatever it's doing is concluded. So yeah, I didn't think I was tired. Sure does seem like every time it rains, my head hurts, I get sinus stuff, congestion, lethargic after a while. I don't know. Might have to see what I can do about that. But if I can do anything about it. Anyway, this was a strange one, and I'm gonna listen back to it, see if I need to cut anything. Big, broad cuts I don't edit. Don't ask me to edit, please. And I'll, once I figure that out, I'll see what it do. All right, man. I love y'all, bro. Hit me up.